My goal is to design better office tools to help white-collar workers feel mentally stimulated at work by decreasing boredom through engaging interactions with office tools. In order to properly address this problem, I made functional and aesthetic goals. I decided that functionally, the tool must require time, patience, and attention to detail to increase users' neurochemicals. The interaction with the tools should follow the theme of analog hand tools, and they should leave the user with a unique consumable to gratify them for the extra effort. My aesthetic goals revolve around removing the user from the environment of the office. Forms should feel like traditional hand tools and have natural raw finishes. They will take inspiration from Japanese design because of Japan's value of traditional craft and simplistic natural designs that don't distract the user. To brainstorm, I began by looking at traditional hand tools, talking with woodworkers about their favorite tools to use, and looking at office tools that are most commonly used. Then applied interactions and functions from the workshop to the office. Some ideas included a tape dispenser that you push like a hand plane to roll tape onto a page, a pencil sharpener that uses inertia from a hand-spun stone to spin blades and sharpen your pencil, and scissors that use a ratcheting knife to saw through your paper. But many of them missed the goal of having an interesting consumable, or didn't require patience and attention to detail. I landed on 3 directions. A stapler that requires users to use a hand punch and a die to rivet papers together with a hammer blow. The second is a tape dispenser that requires users to tear a strip of paper and using a brush, paint glue on one side of the strip of paper, then stick it to the item being taped. A weight can be used to hold down the paper as it dries. The final concept is an eraser that implements a chisel with an eraser head that is used in unison with the paperweight to hold the paper in place while users hit the back of the chisel with a mallet. I began by making fully functional prototypes to test concept legitimacy and gauge user response. I learned a lot by testing each concept, and these were the biggest changes I needed to make. When testing the stapler, I learned I needed to add another punch to make a hole for the rivet to go through. When testing the tape dispenser, I learned that the glue tray needs to be detachable for cleaning, and flat brushes work best to paint glue. When testing the eraser, I learned that a paperweight doesn't hold the paper in place well enough when chiseling, and I needed to design a clamp. Additionally, testers mentioned wanting a brush to sweep up eraser shavings. Testers also asked for a way to store the tools. From this feedback, I began drawing concepts based around function and proportion. The stapler needed a hammer, a die to hit against, 2 punches, and an organizer for the tools and rivets. I wanted the hammer to have intention when being used, so I designed a non-symmetric head. The handle is slightly tapered to allow for high or low grip and keep the form balanced. I wanted the die to be a sturdy piece of steel. The form needed a base to feel refined and protect the table. The punches were designed to feel confident in the user's hand. A large striking surface guides the user to hold the tool correctly and without fear of hitting their hand. The tray is designed to keep the tools easily accessible and in an orderly manner. The tape dispenser needs a brush, a glue receptacle, a paper roll, a paperweight, and a storage tray. I made the brush head flat so the head of the handle must taper, and the length is shorter for fine motor control. The glue tray can still be part of the main organizer, it just needs to be removable, so I made the glue tray the focal point and designed the storage tray to be more compact by stacking the paper roll under the glue tray. The paperweight is the same width as the paper roll to keep proportions feeling balanced. The eraser needs a chisel, mallet, clamp, broom, and stand for organization. The chisel was designed with a rectangular eraser that could be used on the wide side or the thin side. It has a cylindrical handle so that it can be held any way necessary, with a metal ring supporting the striking surface to keep the handle lasting longer. The mallet is designed with a cylindrical head that can be used to strike anywhere so that the user can focus on the head of the eraser instead of the back of the handle. The clamp is designed to attach to the table quickly and uses an offset pivot lever for fast installation and removal. The broom isn't used for long, so it was designed to be relatively small. The stand is designed to hold tools on hooks for quick, easy access for switching between erasing and brushing. With a rough idea of what the form should be, I began prototyping to validate scale and proportion. Using the stapler, I found that the hammer could be smaller than I expected and the handle taper worked as intended. The die base would need to be larger if it was going to be made of wood, and the steel face didn't need to be so high off the table, although it wasn't hard to use. The punches needed to be taller than I expected, and were usually gripped lower for more control, so there wasn't need for a larger hitting surface. The rivets were annoying to sort through and should be kept in 2 separate containers. The organizational tray worked well, and made operation and cleanup quick, but took up a lot of space on the table. Using the tape dispenser, I found that the brush could be short and worked well, although needing to clean the brush was inconvenient. The glue tray didn't work well because of the need to keep the bottle of glue with the organizer, as well as having to clean the tray after use. The paper roll worked well, but could use a better way of cutting the paper other than tearing. The weight needed to be wider than the paper so it didn't feel like it was precariously balancing. Since the organizer is interacted with for more than retrieving tools, it needs to feel more purposeful. As it stands, it feels cramped and static. Using the eraser, I found the chisel and mallet needed to be much bigger than I expected to be ergonomically comfortable. I was able to make the clamp a nice small size, but need to test it using stronger materials to gauge mechanical practical feasibility. The brush can decrease in size and potentially be left out of the family. The stand was too large and took up too much space. Retrieval of the tools was convenient, but wasn't the best solution. For my next steps, I want to rethink how each tool can be used to hopefully reduce their size and focus on the story that the organizer tells. This means rougher sketching and prototyping to dial in the forms, but the functions will stay the same.